I'm saying main character like as if I didn't just say the names. And I don't want to say it because I want to act like as if you've never watched the movie before. But if you watched it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Maybe you don't realize it until the end. And then when you realize it, you're like, oh my gosh, Ananda, you're so slick. You're so intellectual. You're such an important person. Oh my God, did you get the college degree in this? Yes, I did. I literally got my bachelor's degree in film and video studies. Like, I'm literally putting my degree to use, guys. College is not a scam. Yes, it is. Just kidding. I ain't paying my student loans. Anyway. Hello, is this thing on? I think so. I will address the elephant in the room. This display that I have behind me is not that aesthetically pleasing. You can barely see the pictures. Oh, I don't have anything else to say besides I underestimated how big my corkboard is, so the pictures are not that great. The quality of them is a little bit janky because I used my printer instead of going to like CVS to print out photos like Nicole Raffi. Listen, girl, we on the budget. We ain't got that type of money yet. Not yet. I didn't even introduce what this was. Hi, welcome back to my channel. Today, I'm going to be doing a new series on my channel, and it's going to be called A Dissertation on Blank. Basically, just a series where I get to geek out about movies and TV shows that I love, and also novels as well. Also, because I like to yap, and I have a lot to say about this movie, which is going to be, you can't see from the pictures, but this is the movie, The Perks of Being a Wallflower, okay? I'm a little distressed if you can't tell. I'm gonna be talking about The Perks of Being a Wallflower, a dissertation on The Perks of Being a Wallflower. That's episode 1 of this series, because who am I if I don't talk about The Perks of Being a Wallflower? It's literally my favorite movie and novel of all time. I watched the movie 7 times in total, and the last time that I watched the movie was for this video. It took me 4 hours to watch the first hour of the movie because I kept stopping to cry and take notes. I have a lot of pages of notes. I have a lot of work to get through. I took a lot of time putting this video together, even though this corkboard does not prove it. Like, because I see all the girlies doing videos like this and they're so aesthetically pleasing and mine's look like this. I taped the pictures on my corkboard. The tape is coming off. Like literally I missed 2 pictures before. They weren't trying to print because my printer just stopped working, y'all. It's only the 3rd day of the year. I also only have an hour of footage on my camera to film. So the synopsis that I created about this movie, because I tried to look up what the synopsis was of the movie, I couldn't find one for some reason, so this is the one that I came up with after my 7 times of watching this movie. Charlie, a freshman in high school who struggles with his mental health, finds himself observing people more than interacting with them. This all changes when he meets 2 seniors, Sam and Patrick. Through this friendship, Charlie sees himself emerging from being a wallflower and becomes a participant. That's late. It did. You're giving light. You're giving light. Alright, let's get into it. You can't even see the pictures. Look at this picture. It's supposed to be Charlie. You can't even see it. First, our main character, Charlie, is a 15-year-old high school freshman who's learning to navigate life dealing with his mental health issues. Let me hold my... He lives with his parents and older sister Candace, who's a senior in his high school. His older brother is a freshman at Penn State University, and his favorite person in the world is his Aunt Helen. This is Aunt Helen. This is his sister Candace. Candace is all the way down here because Candace is hiding a secret that I have on this corkboard. Sam! Her background is during her freshman year in high school, she was known as the school slut. She was a slut. I don't do drugs. She was known as a school slut because of all the boys that would hook up with her after getting her drunk at high school parties. Now she's reinventing herself so she can go to Penn State and move on from her past. She is also played by Emma Watson. I also never talked about who's playing who. Charlie's played by Logan Lerman, the internet's boyfriend who has a fiance now. Happy for him, sad for me because the fiance's me. Moving on. Sam, played by the iconic, truly wonderful slay girl boss that she is, Emma Watson. Next person, Patrick. His background story, he's gay. And that's not his only story, but that's his main, not contribution to the story, but like the fact that he's dating a closeted boy. This is played by, unfortunately, Ezra Miller. This was before he became a menace to society. So we will pretend like he's still a sane human being in real life. Now we're going to also mention, honorable mentions, Candace, like I said, is Charlie's older sister. She's also a senior in high school, and she's played by Nina Dobrev. I'm not gonna lie, I don't know who Aunt Helene is played by. I'll probably put it on the screen. I'm so sorry, girl. The pictures are falling off already. He will be talked about in this movie because I love him in this movie, and the tape is still coming off. Mr. Anderson, played by What? No. Played by none other than Paul Rudd. I love Paul Rudd. Like, I love him so much. Now we're gonna get into the opening scene. When a film student watches a film they genuinely enjoy, they will spend the next 6 hours deeply annotating the crap out of that movie because they love it so much. And that's exactly what I did with this movie. First, the movie starts off with the audience hearing a typewriter in the background with a black screen and the actors' names popping up. Logan Lerman, Emma Watson, Ezra Miller, whoever else pops up on the screen. And the typewriter at the beginning is actually foreshadowing a character that's important in the main character's life, but also an attribute that the main character will eventually portray. I'm saying main character like as if I didn't just say the names. And I don't want to say it because I want to add it as if you've never watched the movie before. But if you watched it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Maybe you don't realize it until the end. And then when you're realizing, oh my gosh, Ananda, you're so slick, you're so intellectual, you're such an important person. Oh my god, did you get the college degree in this? Yes, I did. I literally got my bachelor's degree in film and video studies. Like, I'm literally putting my degree to use, guys. College is not a scam. Yes, it is. Just kidding. I ain't paying my student loans. Anyway, then there's a shot of the tunnel. The tunnel. It is the first scene and also the last scene of the movie. Full circle moment for two different reasons. It's such a slay. While the tunnel scene is going, the song that plays is Could It Be Another Change by the Samples. The lyrics that pop up while this tunnel scene is going on is, the only time I feel good falling is when I'm falling fast for you. The last 2 digits when I'm calling fade away, but somehow I'll get through. The only time I feel good sinking is when I'm sinking fast and deep for you. You called me as I was winking, now I think my winking days are through. Could it be another change? To come and rearrange? Why can't she just feel that way I do? Bars. The lyrics are setting the tone for the movie that Charlie is going to fall in love. He's going to fall in love with someone that's going to change him for the better, but he doesn't know if she feels the same way about him. Hence the lyric, why can't she just feel the way I do? Give me my professor job right now because I just did a lecture. Moving on. The first 10 minutes of the movie. First, we see Charlie. We see Charlie writing a letter to a person he only refers to as dear friend. Now, we do not know who this friend is. We never find out. I have a theory. I have 2 theories. I have a feeling that either this friend does not exist, like it could be arguably an imaginary friend that Charlie made up so that way he can write his letters to someone so that way he cannot feel alone because he has no friends. Or the person that he is talking about does exist, but the person has no idea who he is, and he writes these letters, but he doesn't actually send them to the person that he's talking to. I could be way off, but you know, that's fine. The first shot we see of Charlie is him in the window of his bedroom at his desk with his back towards the audience. This angle could show the vision people often see of Charlie because he doesn't like being perceived. I can relate. This could also foreshadow the Wallflower aspect of Charlie because he's always watching others, and the first shot we see of him is us watching him. We see him through the window, like as if we're watching him, as if we're outside, and then we go from outside his room to inside his room, but we're just watching him and observing him. And that's exactly what he does with everyone else in his life. He observes everyone. So it's like we're observing him because he observes other people, right? Such a slay. Charlie tells the dear friend that he doesn't want the person to find him because he doesn't want to be known as the kid who spent time in the hospital. He also doesn't want to make the person nervous to be around him because that's how his family behaves and other people who used to know him. When people that you know realize that like you deal with mental health issues, sometimes it can make the people around you feel uncomfortable because they're either scared of pushing a wrong button or they just don't know how to interact with you because of the illness that you have. And because when people treat you like that, it kind of feels like a form of isolation but also a form of rejection because they're not treating you the same way as they would other people, so you just feel bad about yourself and then you feel like a burden as well. That's what Charlie's trying to avoid. That's why he's like, don't try to find me because I don't want you making me feel like I'm a burden to your life like everyone else does. Yes. When Charlie is starting school, he's quickly hit with the reality that he has no friends and all the people who he doesn't know he can't be with. Something just fell. My hamper just fell for funsies, I guess. Like, I get it. The Perks Being Wallflower was a slave movie, but you don't have to fall all over me for it. Like, dad. His older sister was sitting at the senior's table with her boyfriend, Ponytail Derek. This man is called Ponytail Derek. Shame. 2024, let's bring back the pillory machine. She also had a girl that he knew in middle school, but then when he waved hi to her, she acted like he didn't exist. Also, this guy, Brad, Is he on the board? No, he's not. I didn't print a picture of him. Brad played football with his older brother who's now in Penn State, and he thought, oh, like I know Brad because Brad plays football with my brother. Brad didn't become friends with him. Charlie has freshman woodshop, but there's only one senior in the class, which is Patrick! Patrick starts the class off by making fun of the teacher and gets caught when the teacher walks into the classroom. Charlie appreciates the joke gesture Patrick makes because he believes he didn't make the joke to hurt the teacher's feelings, but to lighten the mood for freshmen and to help them feel welcome to the school. Because usually seniors in high school, for some reason, I feel like this is a suburban thing because I feel like in the city, people don't really do this. But I could be lying because when I was a freshman in high school, I was never bullied by seniors because I was too busy bullying myself. But then when I was a senior in high school, I never bullied any freshmen. So like that might be a suburban thing. I really have no idea. But it is kind of known for seniors to like bully freshmen. Because in some scenes you do see like the seniors bullying freshmen. And at one point he does get bullied by senior because like his like book gets ripped, the cover of the book gets ripped. If you see me moving around, I'm bending my knees because you know I'm 24, but I got the legs of a senior citizen, y'all. I got conditions, okay? But yeah, so this was the first like senior that he's had a positive interaction with. And he's like, oh, I think that was really nice that he was like trying to be welcoming to the freshmen and he's a senior. So he's like, okay, that's such a slay that he did that. So Charlie's last day of class is advanced English with Mr. Anderson. Paul. And Mr. Anderson notices how smart Charlie is, but also how shy he is. And he notices this because Mr. Anderson asks 2 questions. The first question that he asks is, which author invented the paperback book? Did I know the answer to this question? No. Was I an English major? Yes. But yeah, the answer to this question was, I think it was Charles Dickens. Why some girls said William Shakespeare. I didn't know the answer, but I knew that was not the answer because he asked about the paperback. William Shakespeare wrote plays, my dude. Like, girl, be so for real. So Charlie knows the answer to this question, but he doesn't raise his hand. Instead, he writes the answer on his notebook. And when Mr. Anderson's walking around the classroom, he notices that Charlie has the answer to his notebook, but he won't raise his hand. Then the second question that Mr. Anderson asks is, what was the question? I didn't write it down. Something about the box office. Basically he asked the second question and the answer was the box office. And Charlie once again knew the answer, but he didn't say it out loud. He wrote it in his notebook. So he wrote it in his notebook and then Mr. Anderson looked at him. Anderson at his desk now. He looked at his desk, looked at Charlie. Charlie's looking at him, he looking at Charlie, they looking at each other. He's like, you gonna say something? And Charlie doesn't say anything. So then he says the box office and Charlie smiles because he had the answer right. Because Charlie is a genius. He is an academic queen. At the end of class, Mr. Anderson quickly realizes the reason why Charlie never speaks up in class is because he probably was called a teacher's pet in his past. Mr. Anderson is aware of Charlie's issues and he tries to help him. He tries to be a good comrade. Mr. Anderson tries to cheer Charlie up by saying, if you make at least one friend on the first day, then you're doing something right. Which is Mr. Anderson saying, hey, you made a friend today because I like the fact that you're smart in my class and you actually pay attention in my class, so now we're friends. Charlie negates it by saying, if his first friend of the day is a teacher, that's kind of pathetic, and he walks out. Like, damn, dude, he was trying to help you out. This is a connection that I noticed. In the movie, we know that Sam, Patrick, and Mr. Anderson are 3 people that are really important in his life because they are the people that reach out for him and interact with him the most. We also see 2 people that he interacts with back to back that become very important in his life. The first one being Patrick, because Patrick introduces him to Sam and his other friends, and then Mr. Anderson because he becomes his mentor throughout the school year. And the fact that we met them back to back, like he had woodshop class and then he met Mr. Anderson right after each other, I'm like, okay, symbolism, okay, slay. So now we're gonna get into Charlie and Aunt Helen. The tape is coming off. So Charlie gets home and pretends his first day at school was fine, despite how isolated he felt, because he doesn't want his parents being concerned that he'll get bad again. The guilt teenagers feel about having mental health issues and their family members being the people who have to deal with it influences them to hide how they feel because they don't want to be a burden. This is a common feeling for teenagers to have, and sometimes only other teenagers who go through the same thing or know someone who did would fully understand. He also notices how his family gets awkward around him when his mental health is rocky, and him being able to see that makes him feel isolated and like a burden, so he masks his feelings to avoid feeling like that. Charlie mentions Aunt Helen for the first time as someone he wishes were still around because she would understand what he means when he says, I'm both happy and sad, and I'm still trying to figure out how that could be. I first watched this movie when I was like 14. I was a freshman in high school, and when I heard the quote, both happy and sad, and I'm still trying to figure out how that could be, I felt like the world perfectly explained how I felt in that moment, because if y'all don't know, in high school I was a very illegally pop. I really was like, oh my gosh, I don't know how to explain how I feel, because every time I try to explain it, it comes out wrong and people don't understand. And then that quote alone, being both happy and sad at the same time, and I'm still trying to figure out how that could be, I was like, whoa, Charlie just put my emotions into the perfect words. I'm gonna take a quick pause because my battery's dying, so give me a quick second. All right, we're back. Next, Charlie meets Sam. Charlie is working on his social skills. He decides to go to a football game alone. Charlie sees Patrick sitting at the bleachers, and he takes this as an opportunity to become friends with him. So he goes up to him, and then he's like, hey. Patrick's like, oh, hey, you're in my workshop class. Nice to meet you. And he calls him Patrick. He says, thank you for saying Patrick and not nothing, because the teacher made a joke about how he was nothing in his workshop class. So now these like twins call him like nothing. They'll be like, hey, nothing. But it's like an old joke. So then he's like, he appreciates that Charlie said, hey, Patrick, instead of just hey, nothing, continuing the boring joke. Patrick offered a seat. He was like, oh, hey, do you want to sit next to me? Or are you with your friends? And Charlie's like, no, I'll sit next to you. And now he's sitting next to Patrick, and now he has a friend. He's making friends, y'all. He's making friends. They sit together, making small talk about football, and then Sam comes in the picture. This is actually the shot that Charlie sees of Sam. You would be able to see it, but if I print it bigger, but we will move on. So, that was bound to happen at some point, and I don't even know what picture that was. It fell at the bottom. Anyway, so Sam comes in the picture. Charlie changes his seat to be close to Patrick to say hi to him, blah, blah. Mostly Sam comes by and sits next to Charlie, putting him in between Sam and Patrick. So when Sam comes, Sam sits right next to Charlie, so now it's Patrick, Charlie, Sam. Obviously, when he sees Emma, because Emma Watson is a beautiful woman, obviously he's like, oh my gosh, she's so slay, oh my gosh, she's so hot, she's baddie. She knows she's It's like love at first sight, basically, for Charlie. So then Sam sits next to him, and Sam looks at him, and he looks at her, and he makes eye contact with her for like 2 seconds. But no, like a second, and he looks down because he gets nervous. So then Sam goes to Patrick, and it's like, oh, Patrick, who's this? Like, hey, who's your friend? And Patrick's like, oh yeah, he's... Ooh, I didn't get your name. And then Charlie's like, I'm Charlie. She's like, okay, hi, I'm Sam. And they meet, and they introduce, and Charlie's falling in love. So the football game ends, the team wins, they go to the diner. And Sam and Patrick ask Charlie, you wanna come to the diner? He's like, yeah. So this is Charlie's first time being invited to hang out. Like, he just made 2 friends, and now he's going to hang out with friends. So this is just a good example of how, like, Charlie, he is a loner kid, and he took the leap to go to this game by himself, and then took another leap to go be friends with an extrovert. 2 successes going to the game, and then saying hi to Patrick, introduced him to Sam. And because Sam is now meeting Charlie, Sam got to know Charlie's name, and now they invited him to go to dinner, which is this picture. Them, I should probably switch sides. This is uncomfortable. I don't like being on this side. So then, while I have to be on this side again because this is just not working. Okay, so while they're at the diner, Sam and Patrick, they're talking, they're chatting, they look adorable. And Charlie's like, oh my gosh, Sam's such a hottie. But like Sam and Patrick, they're dating, clearly. Then he's like, oh, how long have you been together? Patrick's like, oh, give me smooches, give me kissy. To Sam, they're not dating, they're step siblings, because Sam's mom married Patrick's dad. So they're step siblings. So Charlie's like, oh, you guys are step siblings, which means that Sam is not dating you, which means that Sam is single, which means I'm average. It's Mr. CEO girl over here. Anyway, oh yeah, this is them sitting at the game. I literally forgot that I had this picture right here. Yeah, this is if you could see it. Every picture has tape coming off. Patrick's about to fall off the board. Okay, moving on. Now we're gonna get into the kind of unfortunate situations of the movie. After Charlie has dinner with his new besties, he goes home, then he hears Candace and Ponytail Derek having an argument. So he goes towards Candace's room, and the door is cracked, and sees Ponytail Derek slap Candace in the face. And the reason why he slapped her is because Candace was like, you're such a mama's boy, you're such a pathetic little baby, like let your mom walk all over you. And he's like, stop saying that to me, stop saying mean things to me. And he slapped her because he got mad, because one let me not say what I was gonna say. So Ponytail Derek got mad, so he slapped Candace in the face, and Charlie was ready to fight. And Candace obviously was like, okay, no, it's okay, I got it. Kicks Charlie out the room and closes the door. Charlie sees Candace and Ponytail Derek downstairs. They made up, they kissed. When Candace gets inside, he's like, oh, like, why are you still with him? This is the same thing that happened to Aunt Helen. This is when we start to figure out stuff about Aunt Helen. Aunt Helen, unfortunately, was a victim of DV, which is actually part of the reason why she ended up having to stay at their house for a while before she passed. So Charlie seeing Candace getting slapped by her boyfriend was a trigger for him, not only because obviously seeing your sister getting slapped by her boyfriend is something that you want to punch people in the face for, but also the fact that it reminded him of how his aunt was a victim of that as well. So he's like, oh my gosh, another woman that I care about starting to fall into the same trap of DV, and he didn't like that. Yeah, Candace tells him not to tell anyone, and he doesn't. That's an unfortunate thing. Next. Charlie's first school dance. I think this is the part that I was kind of crying at the most. I'm gonna say why. Where's the dance? Charlie's at the school dance, and if you see, do you see anyone next to him? Wait, you see shadows of, wait, I just noticed something in the picture. Okay, so you see Charlie here by himself, right? But you see shadows of people next to him. But the people aren't really next to him, they're just shadows of people next to him because he's watching these people, because he's a Wallflower, because he's observing these people. Okay, anyway, Charlie is at the school dance by himself because once again, he is trying to be social. He's trying to make friends. He's trying to be that cool guy. And this is the second time that he's in a school setting alone. And then the song Come On Eileen by Dexy Midnight Runners comes on. Now, Sam and Patrick. Hello. I don't have a picture. Oh, yes, I do. Sam and Patrick are like, oh my gosh, they're playing good music. Living room routine. They have a living room routine to the song Come On Eileen by the Dexy Midnight Runners. The reason why this part is emotional for me is because when Charlie is seeing the two of them dancing, he's smiling, kicking his feet up internally, you know? And he's like, oh my goodness, these are these two people. I see them. I hang out with them before. I want to hang with them again. Now I have to build the courage to go up to them. During the climax of the part where it's like, I'm not gonna sing it. Basically, there's a certain part of the song that he starts to basically motion his way towards Sam and Patrick because he's building up the courage to like go out of his comfort zone to make friends because socializing is hard for him. So he builds the courage to go up to Sam and Patrick while they're dancing, and then when he finally meets up with them, they're like, hey friend, come dance with us. So then he dances with them, and then they're all just like three friends just dancing to Come On Eileen. The acting is so good in this scene. The whole movie, the acting is great. Logan Lerman really put his in this film. When you see him being like, okay, I'm making my first step, I'm making my second step, I'm making my third step, I'm making moves to go and hang out with these people that I want to be friends with. As a person who doesn't know how to socialize, or finds it hard to socialize, and when you find the courage to make friends with the right people, and those people accept you, and they like let you into their group, or they just become your friend, I drop my pen. People that understand what like to be a Charlie and to have those moments, they appreciate it 10 times more because they know exactly how much courage it takes to go out to people that you don't know to dance with them and hope that they don't reject you. The school dance is a banger, and now he goes from being alone at the school event to having fun at the school dance because now he has friends to be with. So it's just such a monumental moment, man. Okay, anyway, now we get into another dark topic. Sam finds out about Michael. So after the school dance, Sam, Patrick, and Charlie head to a party at one of their friends after the school dance, Sam, Patrick, and Charlie head to a party one of their friends is hosting. Sam and Patrick have a friend who's like a year older than them, goes to college locally. Patrick goes to meet up with Brad, then Sam goes to the crowd. I don't know where she goes, but she just goes somewhere. This leaves Charlie with Sam and Patrick's other two friends, Mary Elizabeth and Allison. Their friend, I forgot his name, but the guy that's hosting the party offers Charlie some snacks, and Charlie's like, oh my gosh, thank you, I'm starving, I'm hungry. Speaking of starving, I'm starving, so I'm gonna eat after the video. What was I saying? Charlie eating the snack. He's like, thank you, this was delicious. It's a pot brownie. Charlie had no idea because Charlie's never done drug before, but everyone knows it's pot brownie, and no one tells him because they want to see this little freshman do drugs the first time because they think it's so cute and funny. They're mean. Sam comes back. She sees a crowd of people around Charlie who's sitting on the floor, and then Sam realizes that Charlie just had a pot brownie, and she's like, oh, you want a milkshake or something? So then Sam and Charlie, they go into the kitchen. Sam tries to make small talk about this being his first time doing drugs, and Charlie reveals that his middle school best friend died last May from sewers. And it's the way Charlie reveals this information in a regular conversation, and it only comes up because he mentioned his friend doesn't like to do drugs, so he never did any. Yeah, like, you know, my best friend didn't really like drugs because he had an alcoholic father, so he didn't like drugs, he didn't like alcohol, he didn't like any of that, so we never did them. Oh, like, where's your friend now? He shot himself last May. Oh, kinda wish he left me a note, you know? Okay, I see I made the situation very awkward now. Do you have a restroom? Do you know where the bathroom is? Yeah, the bathroom's like over there. Okay, I'm gonna go. And then he leaves. This is an example of like Charlie basically being honest about like his history and his past, and like people being like, oh. And he's used to that happening, but like just because you're used to it doesn't mean like it happening to you. So because he's like, here we go again. So he's like, okay, I'm gonna leave because now it just makes the situation awkward, and unfortunately I don't like being in a situation like this. So he leaves. So he goes to the bathroom, but instead of going to the bathroom, he goes into a bedroom. He goes to a bedroom that has, surprise, surprise, Patrick and Brad. Gay? What? Patrick and Brad are making out, and then he catches them, and he's like, oh, wrong room. Brad's freaking out because he's like, oh my god, this is the kid just found out that like I'm kissing you. And Patrick's like, it's okay, I know him, like we're friends, I'll deal with it. So Patrick goes, and he's like, hey, you know what you just saw? Just don't tell anyone. Brad wants to keep it a secret between us. It's okay. And he's like, hey, listen, I wasn't gonna say anything at all. And then Patrick really looks at Charlie. He's like, are you baked? And Charlie goes, like a cake. I think that's so funny. Like, it's a cringe. It's not even cringe. It's like a silly joke, but it's just like, are you baked like a cake? Come on. Like that's funny. Sam is still disturbed by the news that she found out about Charlie's best friend. She feels really bad for him. So Sam tells Patrick about Charlie's friend Michael and tells him she doesn't think he has any friends. Oh my gosh, this is a line that also is just like, Patrick makes a toast to Charlie and says, you see things and you understand. You're a wallflower. If you saw my video of my tattoos, I actually have the word wallflower tattooed on my arm. You can't see because I have a sweater on right now. I think the reason why Patrick really solidified his friendship with him was because, one, because he agreed to keep a secret about Brad, but also like he's like, oh, he has no friends, let's be his friend. Charlie barely knew Patrick. He could have easily like blackmailed him and did something with the information that he had, but Charlie was like, oh yeah, no, you got it. Like this is not my business to tell. Like I'm not gonna say anything. And the fact that like he did that for like a person he doesn't even know that much, like, you know, clearly he could be a good friend, he's a good person. That's why he was like, oh, like you see things and you understand. You're a wallflower. Then Charlie's like looking like, oh, okay. And then Patrick's like, what's wrong? Y'all, I'm gonna cry. Oh, this line's gonna get me every time. Charlie says, I didn't think anyone noticed me. I'm in tears. You know what it's like to feel like you are an invisible person. You know that line hits. It hits and it hurts. People who understand what it's like to be a wallflower but also work hard to be invisible understand that they want to be invisible because they don't want to feel rejected by people. But when no one reaches out to them to be their friend, the feeling of isolation sucks just as much, which makes them want to make friends. But the cycle continues until they meet the right people. Basically, Charlie doesn't want people to perceive him because when he shows who he is, very select few people actually understand him and like are like nice to him about his mental health and all that stuff. Because of all the times that people felt awkward around being with him, he just decided to just like keep his feelings to himself and just like be invisible so that way people wouldn't be making him feel like a burden anymore. But in the process of doing that, he ended up having no friends, and then the one friend he did have died last May. And then another person that he was close with, Aunt Helen, died years ago. So the people that he like grew close with ended up dying. So basically they left him and he doesn't have anyone really close to him. Like he has his family, but his family is one of those people that's like when they realize his mental health is getting bad, they become awkward around him. They start treating him differently, not because they don't care about him or they're like bothered by him, but they just don't know how to like handle talking to him normally in a way to where like they can be aware of his mental health but still help him feel like a human being. When Patrick is like, oh, you notice things but you don't do anything about it, you're a wallflower, he said, I didn't think anyone noticed me, because he thinks that because he feels like he's invisible that he thinks he is invisible. But this is him realizing that like even though he feels invisible, he's not invisible, because even when he first saw Patrick at the football game, he's like, oh, you're in my workshop class, like, oh hey. That was Patrick being like, oh hey, I noticed you, I remember you from somewhere. Patrick was making him realize that like he is visible to people, it's just a matter of whether or not people say it to him. And Sam made the motion to like get to know him a little bit. Like when she was at the football game, he's like, oh, what's his name? Patrick's like, oh, I don't know his name. And then Charlie says his name, and then when she sees that he's high, he's like, oh, do you want a milkshake? Let's go get a milkshake. To like take him to the side and like to help him out, because everyone's just like looking at him as like a fun little toy because he's a freshman who's high for the first time. But Sam wants to like help him out, because I think the reason why Sam did that was because Sam kind of saw herself in Charlie, where like there's a freshman who's high for the first time and everyone's looking at him thinking it's funny, and Sam's like, I know what it's like to be in that position, so I want to help him out by helping him just step away from everyone else. So that's why she offers to make him a milkshake. She makes a milkshake, and when she's making him a milkshake, she tries to get to talk to him, to get to know him as a person. Sam and Patrick are two people that just help him feel seen, heard, and safe. And he's like, oh my gosh, I have these people in my life and this is cool. Sam ends the scene by saying, welcome to the land of misfit toys. And that's that is the end of Act 1. Every scene in this act has a purpose to set the tone for Charlie and the rough life he's lived, but also how he's trying to change it. Because the beginning of the movie, you're like, Dad, this boy is sad, this boy is depressed, but it's not like as if he's depressed and he's like, woe is me. It's more just like he's acknowledging that like he has these issues, but he does want to solve them. He does want to change. He does want to get better, because he writes to this friend because he's in a bad place and he wants to like talk with someone. So he writes the letters to this dear friend, and then he wants to socialize, so he goes out of his way to go to a football game by himself, to go to a school dance by himself, and then that introduces him to other friends. Like he tries to like when he's at lunch by himself, he leaves out that girl in middle school, the girl on the way back. So it's just like he wants to be social and he wants to make friends and he wants to like be with people, but like he's had a past where like it doesn't work as often as he would like it to. Well, another example, when he's like showing how academically smart he is and he gets called teacher's pet, like he gets made fun of and he gets like negative feedback about his personality. Because there's negative feedback about his personality, he kind of just like hides himself, so like people have nothing negative to say about him anymore. And that was just literally me to the T in high school. Like literally all of high school, I literally just like literally did not like to show my full self. Like I would show a part of myself, and sometimes I did show a part of myself that like I wasn't aware to how to control. I was a roaster in high school because I really just felt like that was the one way to just like really let out anger that like I had like hidden deep down in my gut for like years. But yeah, Charlie wants to be seen, he wants to be heard, but he doesn't know how to do it in a way that doesn't make him feel bad about himself because he hasn't met the right people. And it's in high school when he meets Sam and Patrick, that's when he realizes that he just hasn't found the right group of people yet, and now he has. And now he's in the land of misfit toys. Sam is foreshadowed in the beginning of the movie with the typewriter, because later in the movie she gives him a typewriter. And also towards the end of the movie, Mr. Anderson literally tells him that he should become a writer. And also the fact that this is a movie about a writer. I love movies about writers, y'all. I eat that up every time. The song about a guy falling in love with a girl, because Charlie, surprise surprise, is going to develop a crush for Sam. And also the title of the song about change shows how Sam is the one who makes a change in his life. Because like I said, Patrick is the one that like opens up to him and makes him realize that he's like noticed by people, but Sam was the one who asked for his name at the football game. Because when Sam and Charlie made eye contact for like the 2 seconds that they did, Charlie like got scared and like looked away, and Sam was like, okay. So then she's like, okay, so he's not gonna introduce himself, so like let me ask Patrick who he is so that I can get to know him. Like Sam could have just ignored him and been like, okay, he doesn't want to know me, that's fine. But she went out of her way to be like, maybe he's just nervous, so let me go ask Patrick what's his name. And then Patrick was like, oh, I actually don't know his name. And then he's like, oh, my name's Charlie. She asked him about his experience with drugs, which while making the milkshake. And then she told Patrick about the news about Michael and mentioned how she thinks he has no friends. So Sam was the one that kept making the effort to get to know him as a person, and Patrick was the one that helped him realize that he is, just because he feels invisible doesn't mean he is invisible. I am so sweaty. I hope this was entertaining. I'm not gonna lie, I'm like really exhausted. I've been working on this since like 9 a.m. today, but I really enjoyed watching this movie. I really enjoyed analyzing this movie. Like even when I was making the outline, I was like tearing up a little bit. And then when I was listening to the soundtrack of the songs to the movie while cutting up these pictures, I was getting emotional even then. I need to go. I have parts 2 and 3 of this video that will come out soon. My social media will be down in the description box below. I have a podcast, Franchise with Anna, on Spotify, Anchor, all the platforms. You can go look it up. I'll probably put on the screen, the description box down below. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.